Hi, my name is Beth, and I am a program assistant for the St. Johns County Public Library System, and you are watching In the Bubble with Beth. Today, I'm here with local artist Kasha Fahy, who's going to teach us how to create an oil pastel butterfly. We're so grateful to have Kasha here with us. She is a graduate of Flagler College, where she majored in fine arts and graphic design. She works as a graphic designer and teaches art classes on the side. So we're very grateful to have her here. And we are able to host this class because of a grant through the Barbara K Foundation. So we're very grateful to the Barbara K Foundation.
Hi everybody, I just want to again say, remember that art is always different. It's not going to look the same as anyone else's. When you're making your piece, if it doesn't look like mine, that's completely okay. Art is supposed to be fun, it's relaxing, and it's meant to be explorative. So if this is something that you've done before and you're just getting excited to be learning and doing more, or if this is your first time, this is going to be a really fun piece. So just have fun and enjoy it.
Awesome. Okay, we are going to be working on a butterfly today, and what you will need is a piece of black paper and a set of oil pastels. There's multiple colors here.
Hi, so I've created a downloadable template that could be available through the library that you can go then use and cut out and to be able to use for your piece when we're getting started. So part of what we're going to be doing here is I'm laying my template centered, and then I am twisting it to the right and placing it still in the center of my black paper. Now what we're going to be doing is outlining our template, and I'm using our light green pastel. So I'm just going to be going really nice and slow. It's okay, just tracing around, basics of the basics. And basically right now we're creating the outside of our butterfly and the outside of our flower. Now I always think it's really important when teaching classes to provide pieces like this, because when you're wanting to learn or do different things, if you're wanting to learn how to draw, you of course wouldn't want something to trace. But if we're incorporating color or using a new medium like oil pastels today, it's much, much easier than throwing something at someone and expecting them to be able to figure everything out. I think it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish in your art class. So today we're exploring working with oil pastels, part of our grant, which we're so grateful for the library to be able to have, and exploring how colors work together and interact. And that's a lot of what we've been doing for the different classes that we've incorporated for the grant up to this year. So I've traced the entire outside of my butterfly. So a part of that, in addition, is I'm going to be then taking my piece. You can see how we have our flower piece and then just our outside of our butterfly. I'm going to be incorporating that piece, placing it down. Now it's not exact, and that's totally okay, but I'm just going to be coming down and tracing around. So we're separating where that flower is. And then additionally, for our butterfly, where our caterpillar lives, or the base of our butterfly, I've created another piece. I'm going to drop that in, and I'm centering it. So you can see where we're having the divide between our two wings, and we want it to be centered and even. And I'm going to trace around that. And it's totally okay that some of the green is intersecting in lines together, because you can go back over it with the black pastel, which we'll be doing later. So now we have basically the stalk of our butterfly, the wings of our butterfly, and our flower. Now within that, we have, you can see from our demo piece, we have basically like the center of our flower. So that I'm gonna do freehand. And I'm just basically going to take from the center of the left side of my butterfly and do a half circle all the way across to get to the other end. And it does not need to be perfect. So now we have everything outlined. If you would prefer to do this in pencil, that's totally okay when getting started. I'm just doing it with a green or a lighter pastel. You can do it with a white as well, just so we can see it. So now that we have everything done for the outside of our base, what I would like to do is work on the outside and then save the butterfly for last. I think it kind of makes everything come together. So what I'm really going to be doing is pressing down back and forth with my light green. I'm trying to prevent some of the black paper from showing up. And so I'm just pressing down. I'm going to be going all the way around the outside of my flower and the outside of my butterfly. Back and forth. Now I've seen people go up and down, left to right. So there's no right or wrong way. I'm doing left to right, and I'm going to do that all the way across. So things kind of come together in an even background, even textures, but you can definitely explore with backgrounds. That's the really nice thing with pastels. You can also take your finger and begin to blend in certain areas, and you can see how that works as well. So this is really what's fun about working with different mediums is different textures, different pieces. You can do the same thing with a piece of tissue paper or a cloth. So I'm just going back and forth. So you see I'm kind of, by pressing down hard and going a little bit slower in pace, I'm really being able to fill that out. I'm gonna kind of show that, and I'm gonna go back over where I was showing some of the texture. And you can see now we have a really nice light green background that's filled. So a part of the next step is we're really gonna start making kind of like these abstract patterns, adding layers or colors over the top of the pastels and seeing how they work together. So I'm gonna take our dark green, and I'm gonna start at the top, and I'm going to do like a really nice curve and keep curving. You can even do figure eights, so it kind of loops in with each other, or you can just do curves back and forth. So I'm seeing it, and I'm not going into my butterfly, but I'm going from top to bottom all the way down on my art piece. And here we're really starting to create some extra texture and showcasing how the colors layer on top of each other. And if you're saying, well, I really can't see that, you can press a little bit harder. There's no reason why you can't go back over some of it. And I always like to do dark to light. So you'll see that we're gonna be doing dark green and then like a dark blue and then a yellow and a white. So I'm doing this on the right side, and then I'm also gonna start again at the top on the left side of my piece and do the same thing and come all the way down. So I'm doing kind of these figure eight motions. It's looping. Again, if you want to do different types of shapes or different types of textures, please feel free. This is just what I'm showcasing for this piece. You have the ability to have some fun with this. I don't really think there's any right or wrong way to making art. I think it's all about just like making choices and seeing if you like it or what you don't, and then kind of learning for when you're making your next piece. And so then I kind of went over the top just a little bit between the flowers so you're not having this empty space. So I've done that with my dark green. Now I'm going to be using my dark blue, and I'm going to be doing the same thing. It's okay if you follow the green, if you want to go over it or kind of go in between. So I'm starting to have that pull in as well. And I'm just making different patterns. I'm being very loose, very fluid. I'm not trying to be rigid while holding the pastel. Just kind of nice. You can accentuate with your arm movement on the right. So now I'm going to be going back over and doing it on the left. So we've used our light green for the background, a darker green to start with the looping. We've done a dark blue, and now what we're going to be doing is also going in with a yellow and then following up with a white. So the yellow I'm pressing a little bit more harder down because I want it to be able to see through, and I'm showing that as I'm going around, I'm seeing the green coming off. You can rub this off with your fingers. You can rub this off with a piece of towel or paper to kind of get that, because you're pulling up some of what's already on the paper. So you can see that we're incorporating this here again, both on the left and the right sides. So I'm doing looping, nice big strokes. Now, if you're like, I'm not quite sure if I'm ready to put this on the piece that I'm getting started on, feel free to pull up a different sheet of paper. It could be like white copy paper, construction paper, and you can go over the movements until you feel like you have something down for yourself. That's totally okay. Practice makes perfect. So now that we have the yellow, I'm gonna follow up with actually finishing up with our white. So that's kind of gonna be on top. So again, we went from dark to light here on the outside. So now that we've completed the background of our butterfly scene, what I would like to do is kind of go in and complete our flower. So I'm going to be taking our like light blue, kind of like a baby blue, and I'm going to trace around the outside of the petals that we have for our flower. Now I'm going a little fast, so I'll go a little bit slower. Sorry, guys. But I'm just kind of going over and kind of pop out against the background. And then I'm also going over on the inside, so we're kind of separating where our center of our flower is going to be. And I am going to fill this with the light blue. And for this, I am going a little bit left and forth, back and right. Look, you can see I've had some of my green come in. That's totally okay. That's not a problem. What's nice about pastels is there is a blending ability. So you just kind of keep pushing through and blending, but you can create some really nice colors here. And I'm filling this in. So then what I'm going to do is actually outline, and I'm trying to clean with our dark blue. So I'm going to come around, and where the flower is touching the outside of the butterfly, I'm going to come around and I'm pressing kind of hard to kind of showcase where the outside of that flower is going to be. And you can see where we have longer petals and shorter petals. And if you want, you can kind of have those petals come in. So you're showcasing more of a petal feature. And I am pressing, because when you start having more layers on your paper, you have to push a little bit harder. And then I go to the outside. So we've kind of got the outside base of our abstract flower. Now following that, I'm going to be going over the inside to create that the center of our flower with yellow. I'm going to go over where our blue is kind of touching that green. And then I'm going to go on the outsides of both of our butterfly wings. And then I'm going to go around where we have basically the top head of the butterfly. And then I'm going to fill in all this area with yellow. So now that we have this area full of yellow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my orange and I'm going to go over where we kind of have that yellow touching the light blue. And I'm going to do a nice little line. And I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to blend it. And if you're like, I'm not getting enough color, just put a little more color on and blend with your fingers. And you can see where you kind of start having a darker shade. And then I'm just going to go over it a little bit more with my line again. So you kind of have a 3-layer. You have your yellow, kind of like a lighter orange, and then a darker orange. And so it just kind of creates this nice center for your butterfly. So now what we're going to be working on is the center of our butterfly. And so what I'd like to do is to actually take our black, because I really feel that you can incorporate the black of the paper, but it doesn't create the same kind of gloss or nice finish when creating. So I think that it's good to experiment too. And what I have learned is using black and white are some of the features that you want to do last when working on a piece. So we're kind of creating our butterfly, which is going to have a lot of that. So again, that's part of why we're doing this piece last. But we're basically going to outline the center of our butterfly first in that black. So I'm going over that yellow. And so then we're going to fill in this area, and we're able to really cover where that intersection was, like I was telling you. So it's not even what I was telling you before. So it's not even something that's going to have to get worried about. And we're kind of going over we're going to be creating our shapes on the outside of our butterfly that kind of turn it into a little bit more of a monarch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my orange, I'm going to line it on the right side where it's touching the black base over the center of our butterfly, or the caterpillar portion, and I'm going to come out, and I'm following that same ridge of the shape of the butterfly, but I'm letting the paper be around the outside. And I'm going to connect that back in. And then I'm going to go on the outside. So you see that we're creating the shape, but there's still the ability for the paper to be seen, and we're actually going to fill that with black as well. So we just did this for the right side, and we're going to do the same thing near the bottom. So we're doing the top half, and then we're going towards the bottom. And we're going to do is connecting it to the bottom part of our caterpillar, bringing it around so there's still some space for the black paper, and then having it connect and then go around the outside. And I can kind of see where my fingers are lining up, where if I do a little bit of a dot, that I'm matching up with the other sides. And I'm going to bring it around and come down. And you can see I'm kind of looking at the shape and seeing how that can get kind of transformed a little bit. And then down. And then the same thing. I can see where these are lining up. I can do a little dot. And then I can bring it around as well. And so then we have our shapes. Part of what I would like to do then is actually fill in the inside of these with orange. So I'm filling in these areas with the orange. And then I'm going to move over to the left side. So what we're going to do is take that black again, and wherever that black paper is, we're going to go back over it with the black pastel. So what I'm going to do is I'm kind of going to outline around my orange and start kind of filling in. And I'm kind of going left to right. So I'm getting this section nice and complete. So I'm doing that, and then I'm going down and I'm doing the bottom half of my right section. And then I'm going to go over to the left side and do the same thing, kind of go around. So just kind of filling in that black paper space. So now that we have this completely filled out with the black, what we're going to be doing is using our yellow again, and we're going to creating some shading or some light shading within the inside of our orange on our butterfly. So what I'm going to do is kind of go towards the left side, and again, I'm really pressing down, and I'm lining up with the base of my butterfly, or the caterpillar part as I keep calling it, and we're kind of turning it into a C because I'm pressing and kind of creating some nice shading. And I'm doing that both on both sides. So I'm going to do the same type on my left side. So it's going to be a backward C, as I call it. And I'm really kind of pressing, and then I clean. Now, for me, I don't have a piece of paper, so I'm going to do it on my, but that's what I have a smock for. Smocks are made to get messy. That's what a great art teacher in high school said to me. And I think I've lived by that in all areas of my life. So we're seeing that get incorporated. And then I'm going to be doing the same thing on the bottom, but a little bit less of a C shape and more just kind of coming out of the corner. So we're developing some really nice shading there. And we're doing this on both sides and we're having it come down. And then in addition to that, we're going to be going over a little bit in between the orange and the yellow with this, I call it more of like a flesh tone. And I'm just kind of going around and making that C shape. And you can kind of go in with your fingers and press too to do some blending if you'd like. And I'm going to be doing the same thing on the bottom half as well. And I'm kind of going back and forth, pressing, and then going in with my fingers. So you can see some really nice shading. And then what we're going to do is kind of come in and make some lines and create some of the the definition inside of our butterfly. So I'm going to keep wrapping off some of my black oil pastel. But I'm going to be doing kind of like some nice lines that have some curves to them. So I'll be starting at the base. I'm kind of doing it in the juncture where the top half and the top and the bottom half meet. And I'm going to be curving to the left. And I'm pressing down to get a nice line. And then I'm going to be kind of doing the same thing where we have our curve happen on our right side of our butterfly. And I'm going to curve to the right. And then kind of centerizing in between those areas, I'm just going to have something that goes a little bit straight. And I'm kind of trying to keep my lines the same consistency and width. So then I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to have a line that curves more to the right. I'm going to have it where my curve, and I'm going to have it curve more towards the left. And then centered. Now on the bottom part, what I'm going to be doing is actually creating like a little, again, like a half circle and connecting, kind of centerizing between the bottom half and the top and the bottom. Connecting our black so it touches. And I'm going to do that on both sides. Now again, it does not have to be perfect here. That's completely okay. So you can see how we're forming. And then within that, I'm going to kind of divide it into a little bit of thirds. And I'm going to take a section and again drop that down. And do the same thing there, and do the same on the other side. So now we've got some really nice defining parts of our butterfly on the inside. And then what I'm gonna do is actually at the top, in between, we're gonna make, I'm not sure, antennas?
Antennas, yeah.
And so I'm gonna take a line and pull it and have it go more right. And then the same to go for the left.
Cute.
So now what we'll be using is we're putting up the final touches. So you want to make sure that your white is clean. So, I'm going to go around and create some of our like character marks. Now you don't have to do these if you don't want to. But what I like to do is I'm on the right side of my wing. I'm pressing down and I'm actually circling with my pastel to create like a really nice little circle. And I do that quite a few times. So I kind of do one in the center, one below, and one on top, and I press. And you can really see how like the black starts popping up, but you're getting a really nice, because of the shape of the oil pastel already, you're getting some really nice circles. And how hard you press, and for a little bit of the length, is going to determine how white it comes. Now I've also incorporated doing a little bit of a red mark on the top part of our wings that you can see here. If you want to, you can make it orange or you can make it yellow. You do not have to do any of the color combinations that we've been doing today. You can mix and match, but I'm just gonna do that above and below on the top sections of our butterfly wings. And you can see that it's a little bit difficult to see the red, so I'm doing it first as a mark, and then I'm gonna go back over, and the more you press, the more defined it becomes. And it's not meant for it to be as prominent as the white is. It's a little bit more subtle. And then some of the last steps, again, you do not have to fill in the inside of your butterfly, but we did do circles all along like the outside edge. So what you can do is you can start with the top point, creating a circle in the bottom. So those are kind of your defining points. And then you can go and align evenly on both sides as you go up your butterfly. And you can make them as big or as small as you want. So each time I'm matching up and bringing it down until it gets to that center point. And so having it start with both the top and the bottom really kind of helps that align for everyone. And there you have it.
Well, thank you so much, Kasha. This was wonderful, and I look forward to the other classes that will be posted on the St. Johns County Public Library page's Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Thank you again to the grant, and for all of you who are wanting to watch this and are participating and wanting to make art even during these difficult times. I think you're very inspiring. I look forward to seeing you again in person when that can happen, but I hope everyone is staying safe, and thank you so much for wanting to look at these online as well.
Thank you so much for joining us. We had a lot of fun, and we hope you did too. Just so you know, Kasha will be back to teach 2 more oil pastels classes in November and December. In November, she'll be teaching us how to create a sunflower, and in December, she's going to teach us how to create a lighthouse. So you can watch those on our website, our Facebook page, or our YouTube channel. And you can also watch the class that she taught us in September at any time on our Facebook page or YouTube channel. So we're so grateful to Kasha, and we're also grateful to the Barbara K Foundation for sponsoring this class. And we're also grateful to you for watching. So thank you so much for joining us. If you created your own picture, we'd love to see a picture of it on social media. Tag us at #ILoveSJCPLS. Thanks again. We'll see you soon at the library. Have a great day.